The Behringer Model D is a monosynth, which means that this should be impossible. It does have 3 oscillators and you can tune them separately relative to each other. But there's no way to hook up a keyboard or anything else and send its oscillators anything but one single pitch at a time. I can add more oscillators to the mix, but they'll always move together. That's the bass note I'm playing with my left hand. However, it does have a 4th playable oscillator, and that's the filter, when it self-oscillates at high levels. And you can do this either in high-pass mode or low-pass mode. The minute you turn up the emphasis, it effectively becomes a sine wave oscillator. With a few tricks that I'll explain here, you can play 2 separate notes paraphonically, which means they share an envelope, but you can play 2 distinct separate notes. Okay, let's see how to set this up. Now, you could use other hardware, but the Keystep has a nice little feature, and let me show you how it's hooked up. I have MIDI going out from the Keystep into the Model D, and then I have the pitch CV out going through another module back into the pitch of the filter. Now hold on, another module you say? Okay, let me show you how to do it without another module, and then I'll show you what the other module does. I'll disconnect it, and I'll connect the Keystep CV pitch out directly into the Model D. And let's see. Okay, that's connected. Now in terms of setup, you need to do 3 things. The first is disconnect the filter from keyboard control by doing this. Now, I explain this more in depth in my Model D tutorial. For all intents and purposes, here we just want the filter to ignore whatever the oscillators are doing. The second step in the process is to tell the Model D to give priority to the lower of 2 notes if it sees 2 notes coming in via MIDI. Then the final piece of the setup puzzle is to go to the Keystep's MIDI control center and tell it to give priority to the higher note when it sends out CV information. Now all we need to do is tune the filter and the oscillators that we want to use to each other. And you can do this pretty quickly and easily by ear. And if you're not comfortable with that, you can always bring in a tuner. And I've lowered down the oscillator. You're just hearing the filter now. Tune that, then lower the emphasis. Turn on the oscillator. Tune that to the same note. Doesn't have to be A, by the way. And bring back the resonance, and they're nicely tuned. And voila, you can now play 2 notes completely separately. This is paraphonic or duophonic, but you've got a nice way to play tunes with a high note and a low note separately. Well, we should be done, I hear you say. Ask us to subscribe and let's go our separate ways. But wait, what was that business with the module in the beginning? Well, it turns out that while a well-calibrated Model D will track pitch correctly across multiple octaves, the pitch control for the filter frequency, at least in my Model D, doesn't work as precisely. It's a little bit less than 1 volt per octave. And if you have a dog, please apologize on my behalf for this part. So if I play the same note across multiple octaves, it gets off by a little bit every octave. So if your Model D behaves this way, the solution is to take the control voltage coming out of the Keystep and pass it through a module that will stretch it out a little bit, and then return it to control the Model D cutoff point. Now, one such module that can stretch out CV like that is Befaco's A times B plus C module. Now, I unfortunately don't have this module, so what I did was use the technique that I explained in my hybrid modular video to pass the video through Expert Sleeper's ES8 onto a virtual module on VCV Rack and back to my hardware system. There should be a link to that video somewhere around this clip. Now, you don't need this additional step if you're playing around a 1 octave range with the filter, but if you want to play across a broader range, this will help you do that. Final tip, mess around with a low-pass filter to quiet out a lot of the harmonics, or the high-pass filter if you want to hear them. And that's basically it. This is the part where I ask you to like the video if you learned something, hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, write in the comments anything you want, any ideas, questions, requests. Thanks very much for watching.